In the vast council chamber orbiting the neutral planet Viridia, representatives of the Galactic Council's many species gathered, their murmurs creating a low hum. At the center, on the humans' podium, stood Aaron Voss, his gaze sweeping across the assembly of alien diplomats. Esteemed members of the council, Aaron began, his voice echoing through the translator devices. Humanity stands committed to peace and progress within this great community. However, we also stand for the protection and expansion of our people across the stars. A Zaltraxian delegate, a massive being with reflective skin, rose from its seat. Expansion at others' expense, Aaron Voss. Your progress has led to conflicts on multiple frontiers. Your military maneuvers threaten the stability of regions we've struggled to stabilize for centuries. Aaron met the delegate's stern gaze. With respect, Ambassador Threx, those regions were in chaos long before we arrived. Our presence brings order. Another voice cut in, this one silky and calm, from a cloaked figure known as Scylla from the Nebulon constellation. Order, or colonization under the guise of order. You overstep, humans. Your fleets grow bolder by the day. Before Aaron could respond, a new figure joined the fray. General Ethan Drake, a late arrival, his uniform crisp, his expression unreadable. If I may, Drake interjected as he approached the podium, standing beside Aaron. His presence drew immediate attention, his reputation known across the galaxy. The galaxy is a vast place, and there's room for all. Humanity's actions are not of conquest, but of necessity. We secure what we need to survive. The chamber erupted in chatter, various delegates speaking over one another, their voices a cacophony of discontent. The president of the council, a wise and ancient entity named Mavora, tapped her gavel. Order. We will hear from each representative in turn. Proceed, General Drake. Drake nodded. Thank you, President Mavora. Consider this. Every species here has at one time expanded beyond their original borders. You did so for resources, for space, for security. We do the same now. The difference is, humanity is new to this council. Our expansion is viewed not as a right, but as an aggression. A Rigelian delegate, feathered and beaked, squawked loudly. Rights do not permit the infringement of others' sovereignties, General. Your fleets engage not only in defense, but provoke where they should placate. Drake's response was measured. And yet, when Rigelian pirates raid our supply routes, we are expected to placate? We seek only to protect our investments and our people. Aaron stepped in, aiming to soothe the rising tensions. Let's find common ground. We propose joint patrols, human and alien fleets, to oversee these contentious zones. Threx growled, his voice rumbling through the chamber. Joint patrols, a veiled attempt to legitimize your encroachments, perhaps? Before Aaron could formulate a response, a new voice entered the debate, one not heard before in the council. It belonged to Captain Leon Mercer, another human, known for his diplomatic skills as much as his strategic acumen. He stood up from the delegation's bench, his tone conciliatory. Perhaps, Ambassador Threx, it appears so. But consider the potential benefits. Our cooperation could serve as a model for others. Through collaboration, we not only ease tensions, but also enhance mutual understanding and security. Mavora, intrigued, leaned forward. A novel suggestion, Captain Mercer. And what if these patrols reveal humanity's true intentions are as claimed, merely to maintain stability? Leon's reply was swift. Then we would have laid the foundation for trust, President Mavora. And if not, then you will have gained insight into our operations. Insight that I assure you will only confirm our commitment to peace. The chamber settled into a thoughtful silence, the council members pondering Leon's words. Mavora finally spoke. We will consider this proposal. General Drake, Captain Mercer, and Ambassador Voss prepare a detailed plan for these joint patrols. We will reconvene to discuss this further. Humanity's initiative might just be the opening we need to bridge our differences, or confirm our suspicions. As the delegates began to disperse, Drake, Voss, and Mercer exchanged looks. They had bought humanity time, but the true challenge was just beginning. Inside the Strategic Command Center on Earth, the atmosphere was charged with a palpable sense of urgency. Screens lined the walls, displaying star maps and live feeds from various fleets across the galaxy. General Ethan Drake stood at the forefront, flanked by his trusted advisors, including Captain Leon Mercer. Let's not kid ourselves, gentlemen, Drake began, his voice firm, his eyes scanning the room. The Galactic Council will use these joint patrols as a way to spy on us, to gauge our capabilities and intentions. We must be prepared. Leon, ever the diplomat, nodded thoughtfully. We should see this as an opportunity, General. we can demonstrate our commitment to peace while subtly reinforcing our strategic positions. If they see our strength, perhaps they'll think twice before challenging us." Drake smirked. "And that's precisely why you're leading the patrol initiative, Mercer. I trust you to strike that balance between transparency and tactical discretion." As the meeting progressed, a young officer, Lieutenant Michael Harris, entered the room. He approached Drake with a datapad in hand. "Sir, we've detected unusual fleet movements in the Torrens sector. It appears to be a large-scale mobilization, but it's unclear which factions are involved." Drake's attention shifted immediately. "Show me." The room darkened as the main screen lit up with a detailed star map. Harris pointed to a cluster of blinking icons. "Here, General. Our intel suggests that these could be Zaltraxian forces, possibly gearing up for a preemptive strike against our outposts." Drake's jaw clenched. "Mercer, this complicates your mission. We need to ensure the security of our borders even as you head out for these patrols." Leon nodded, his mind racing with the implications. "I'll adjust our patrol routes to include passive reconnaissance. We'll keep an eye on the Torrens sector without making overt military movements. Subtlety is key here." Drake agreed. "Exactly. Meanwhile, I'll prepare our fleets for any potential engagement. Harris, coordinate with Admiral Cortez. I want a contingency plan in place within the hour." As the officers dispersed to carry out their orders, Drake pulled Leon aside. "Be careful out there, Mercer. The Council is watching, and so are our potential enemies. This dual role might just be the most challenging mission you've undertaken." Leon offered a grim smile. "Challenge accepted, General. We'll manage the patrols and keep an eye on the Zaltraxians. Humanity didn't come this far by backing down." Later that day, aboard the UES Vanguard, Leon oversaw the final preparations for departure. The ship's corridors buzzed with activity as crew members readied themselves for the mission ahead. Leon took a moment to address his team in the briefing room. "Listen up, everyone. Our mission is to patrol, observe, and report. But make no mistake, we're also there to project strength and deter aggression. We're not just defenders, we're diplomats. How we handle this will shape humanity's role in the galaxy." As the Vanguard set course for the Torrens sector, the weight of their task was not lost on anyone aboard. The galaxy watched, holding its breath, as humanity ventured forth, not just to patrol but to assert its place among the stars. High above the rim of the galaxy, in a sector marked by nebulae and silent, drifting asteroids, the first major confrontation of the escalating conflict took shape. The Torrens sector, known for its strategic position and rich resources, became the focal point of a brewing storm. Captain Leon Mercer and the U.S. Vanguard, along with a small fleet of human and joint patrol ships, moved into position, unaware of the imminent threat. On the bridge of the Vanguard, Leon peered at the holographic displays, each showing various sectors of space. The silence was suddenly broken by the urgent voice of Ensign Jenna Cole, the ship's sensor operator. "Captain, we've got multiple warp signatures appearing directly ahead. Configuration matches Zaltraxian military craft." Leon's calm demeanor masked the surge of adrenaline. "Sound general quarters. Get all crew to battle stations. Initiate diplomatic protocols as well. Open a channel to the incoming fleet." The crew sprang into action, the sounds of alerts and hurried footsteps filling the air. On the main view screen, the shadowy figures of Zaltraxian warships emerged from warp, their formidable armaments unmistakable. Leon stood firm as the face of a Zaltraxian commander appeared on the screen. "Captain Mercer of the human fleet, you tread into sovereign space with armed warships. This is a clear act of aggression against the Zaltraxian Empire." Leon responded with practiced diplomacy. "Commander Zorak, we are here on a sanctioned joint patrol mission by the Galactic Council. Our presence is part of an effort to maintain stability in volatile sectors." The Zaltraxian snarled. "Your stability is a guise for surveillance and military buildup. You will withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Leon tried to de-escalate. "Commander, let's discuss this. There is no need for conflict. We can—" Before he could finish, alarms blared. Jenna shouted, "Incoming fire! Brace for impact!" The Vanguard shuddered violently as it absorbed the first volley of Zaltraxian fire. Leon steadied himself, barking orders. "Return fire, but keep it controlled. Target their weapon systems only. We need to show restraint." As the battle unfolded, the human fleet managed to hold its ground, employing evasive maneuvers and strategic counterstrikes. However, the Zaltraxian forces were relentless, their tactics brutal. Meanwhile, on Earth, General Drake monitored the battle from the Strategic Command Center. His expression was grim as he watched his protege and friend in the heat of battle. He turned to his communications officer. "Get me the Galactic Council. It's time they see firsthand what their neutral policies lead to." The council was convened urgently. A live feed of the battle transmitted directly to the chamber. Ambassador Aaron Voss watched, horror-stricken, as the conflict he had hoped to prevent unfolded brutally. As the council members voiced their outrage and concern, Drake intervened through the live feed. "This is what happens when provocations go unchecked. We are defending ourselves against an unprovoked attack in a sector that should have been secured by joint efforts." Back on the Vanguard, Leon continued to maneuver through the chaos. His voice calm, yet forceful, he commanded, "All ships, form up on my signal. We're going to push through their line. Minimal casualties, maximum effect. Let's end this quickly." With precise coordination, the human fleet executed a daring maneuver that broke through the Zaltraxian formation, disabling the flagship and forcing the commander to call for a retreat. As the enemy ships warped out, Leon addressed his crew, his voice filled with both relief and resolve. "Well done, everyone. We showed them our strength and our restraint today, but this is just the beginning. Stay vigilant." The battle's end marked a pivotal moment in human-alien relations. The Galactic Council, now faced with undeniable evidence of Zaltraxian aggression, was forced to reconsider its stance on humanity's role in galactic politics. In the aftermath of the skirmish in the Tauran sector, the Galactic Council's headquarters, a massive space station orbiting the cultural capital of the galaxy, Ulith Prime, was in turmoil. Representatives from various alien species gathered in the Grand Assembly Hall, their faces etched with concern and anger. Aaron Voss stood at the forefront, his expression somber as he addressed the assembly. "Ladies and gentlemen of the Council, what we witnessed in the Tauran sector was not an isolated incident. It is a clear indication of the escalating tensions that threaten to unravel the fragile peace we've maintained." Across the chamber, a murmur of agreement and dissent bubbled up. Zorak, the Zaltraxian commander from the recent conflict, now dressed in the formal garb of a diplomat, rose to speak. "This so-called peace is a farce," he declared, his voice booming through the translators. "Humanity's aggressive postures and relentless expansion provoke these responses. We defend our sovereignty." Aaron, remaining composed, countered, "Commander Zorak, with all due respect, the Zaltraxian fleet fired first without provocation. We must review the facts objectively. This council was established to mediate such disputes before they escalate." The president of the council, Mavora, interjected with a weary tone. "Enough. This bickering gets us nowhere. We face a crisis that requires immediate and decisive action. If we cannot find a solution here, today, we risk a galactic war." The room fell silent at her words, the gravity of the situation settling over the assembly. Mavora continued, "I propose an emergency session to be convened. We will hear detailed reports from all sides and then decide on a course of action. We cannot allow personal grievances to cloud our judgment." General Ethan Drake, who had been observing silently from the back, now stepped forward. His presence commanded attention. "Madam President, with all due respect, while we debate, the safety of human colonies hangs in the balance. We must prepare for all eventualities, including further aggression from those who see our growth as a threat." A Cilium delegate, known for their peaceful and contemplative nature, suggested a compromise. "Perhaps, General Drake, you would agree to a temporary ceasefire while we deliberate. This would give us the breathing room to understand each other's positions without further loss of life." Drake paused, considering the proposition. "A ceasefire can be agreed upon, but it must be mutual and monitored. We will not stand down our defenses, nor will we provoke further conflict. This is the best I can offer in good faith." The assembly agreed reluctantly, the tension among the delegates palpable. Plans were made for the ceasefire to be implemented with strict surveillance by an independent third party, a group of monks from the reclusive planet of Ethon, known for their impartiality and wisdom. As the council adjourned, Aaron met privately with Drake. "Ethan, do you think they'll go for it? The ceasefire, I mean." Drake looked at him, a hint of skepticism in his eyes. "They'll agree because they have to. Nobody wants a war. But make no mistake, Aaron, this is just a stalling tactic. We need to prepare for the worst. I suggest you use this time to gather more support. We'll need all the allies we can get if things escalate." Aaron nodded, his mind already racing with strategies and potential alliances. "I'll start right away. This ceasefire won't last long, and when it breaks, we need to be ready." As the leaders departed, the galaxy held its breath. the ceasefire a fragile barrier against the tide of conflict threatening to engulf them all. Each side knew that the coming days would be crucial in shaping the future, not just for humanity, but for all civilizations under the Council's sway. As the ceasefire held tenuously across contested star systems, General Ethan Drake took the initiative to reinforce humanity's strategic positions, interpreting the ceasefire as a period not just for diplomacy, but preparation. On Earth, the mood was one of quiet urgency, with Drake overseeing the expansion and strengthening of the United Earth Fleet. Preparations need to be accelerated, Drake instructed his top engineers and military strategists during a high-level briefing in the newly constructed War Room, deep within the Pentagon's classified levels. The walls were lined with screens displaying star maps and fleet positions, constantly updated with real-time data. Captain Leon Mercer, now back from his patrol duties, voiced his concerns. "General, the ceasefire is only holding because the other species are regrouping. We've detected increased communications between the Zaltraxian and Rigelian factions. It seems they're planning something big." Drake nodded, his expression grim. "That's why we can't just sit back. I want our fleet to be the most formidable force in the galaxy. Continue with the patrols, but keep them discreet. Gather as much intel as you can. We need to know their plans, their capabilities." Meanwhile, on the diplomatic front, Ambassador Aaron Voss engaged in a flurry of negotiations and alliance building. He traveled to multiple non-aligned planets, attempting to sway them with promises of protection and mutual benefit under human leadership. In one such meeting on the neutral planet of Kethra, Aaron addressed a gathering of skeptical alien leaders. "Ladies and gentlemen, the current Galactic Council has failed to maintain peace and order. Under human leadership, we can bring stability and prosperity to this region. Join us, and we'll ensure your safety against any aggression." The Kethran leader, a tall, slender being known as Velix, responded with measured caution. "Ambassador Voss, while we appreciate your assurances, we fear provoking the Council further. How can we trust that aligning with humanity won't draw us into a larger conflict?" Aaron, using his diplomatic acumen, replied, "Because we're committed to a defensive pact, not an offensive one. Our aim is not conquest, but stability. Together, we can build a coalition that respects the sovereignty and independence of all." Back in the Toran sector, as Leon conducted another patrol, his fleet stumbled upon a large, hidden armada amassing near the gas giant Xanthi. Realizing the potential threat, Leon sent encrypted messages back to Earth. "General, we've found something significant. It looks like a staging area for a major offensive. We need to act." Upon receiving the intel, Drake wasted no time. He convened an emergency session with his commanders. "This is our chance to catch them off guard. We strike hard and fast, dismantle their fleet, and show the galaxy that any aggression against humanity will be met with overwhelming force." The battle plan was set into motion swiftly. Human warships, equipped with the latest weaponry and shield technology, launched a surprise attack on the alien armada at Xanthi. The battle was fierce, with intense ship-to-ship combat and strategic deployments of fighter squadrons. As the dust settled, the human forces emerged victorious, their enemies' warships either destroyed or crippled. The message was clear. Humanity was a formidable force, capable of not only defending its territories, but effectively neutralizing threats. The victory at Xanthi shifted the balance of power. News of the successful defense spread quickly, bolstering the morale of human colonies and convincing more non-aligned planets to consider alliances with humanity. The war was far from over, but humanity had asserted its dominance and readiness to lead in a galaxy riddled with conflict and uncertainty. The galaxy, once a vibrant tapestry of interconnected civilizations, had now become a battleground. Ceasefire Prime, a strategic planet located at a critical nexus of trade routes and hyperspace lanes, became the next focus of human ambitions. Its capture would secure humanity's dominance over key sectors, ensuring their unchallenged rise as a galactic power. General Ethan Drake, having coordinated multiple campaigns that pushed the boundaries of human territory, now directed his attention to this pivotal world. The planet was heavily fortified, guarded by a coalition of alien forces determined to stem the tide of human expansion. In the command center on Earth, Drake outlined his plan to his officers. Ceasefire Prime is not just another target, it's the key to the Eastern Quadrant. We take Ceasefire, and we control the lanes. This will be a full-scale assault. I want every available ship, every soldier prepared for a prolonged engagement. Captain Leon Mercer, appointed as the fleet commander for the operation, reviewed the tactical displays. The alien coalition has set up extensive orbital defenses and a powerful ground force. It won't be easy to break through. Drake's eyes hardened with resolve. Nothing worthwhile ever is, Captain. Prepare your men. I expect nothing less than victory. The battle commenced with a massive barrage from humanity's orbiting fleet. Space around Zethus Prime lit up with the fires of war as ship after ship exchanged devastating volleys. Leon, aboard the flagship UES Sovereign, coordinated the orbital strikes and the deployment of ground troops. As the ground invasion began, Lieutenant Michael Harris, now commanding a platoon of elite soldiers, was among the first to land. The surface of Zethus Prime was chaotic, a landscape marred by ongoing artillery fire and the scars of previous battles. Michael led his men through the ruins, targeting strategic points to disrupt the alien defenses. "We're making progress, but it's slow going," Michael reported over the comms to Leon. "The resistance is fiercer than we anticipated. They're well prepared for our tactics." Leon, monitoring the situation from orbit, adjusted his strategy. "Understood, Lieutenant. I'm sending additional squads to your sector. Hold your position and fortify. We'll push through with reinforcements." The battle raged for hours, both in space and on the ground. Humanity's technological superiority and strategic acumen were pitted against the desperate resolve and numerical advantage of the alien coalition. The tide of the battle shifted repeatedly, with neither side gaining a decisive upper hand. In a daring move, Leon ordered a contingent of special forces to execute a covert operation behind enemy lines. Their mission was to sabotage the main energy grid powering the alien defenses. The operation was risky, requiring precise execution. Michael, leading the operation, maneuvered his team through enemy territory, evading patrols and engaging in sporadic firefights. They reached the energy grid, setting charges and timing the explosion to coincide with another wave of orbital strikes. The plan worked. The explosion disrupted the alien defenses long enough for human forces to advance, breaching the main fortifications and overwhelming the defenders. As the last resistance crumbled, Leon and his forces secured control over Zethus Prime. In the aftermath of the battle, the flag of Earth was planted on the highest peak of Zethus Prime. The victory was celebrated across human territories, broadcast as a testament to human valor and strategic brilliance. However, the victory at Zethus Prime was not without cost. The losses were significant, and the images of war-torn landscapes and exhausted soldiers tempered the celebrations. Yet, the strategic gain was undeniable. Humanity had secured a critical foothold, asserting itself as a dominant force in the galaxy, one step closer to shaping the future according to its vision. Following the decisive human victory at Zethus Prime, the Galactic Council was forced to reassess its strategy and stance towards humanity's expanding influence. In an emergency session, held amidst the backdrop of heightened security and political turmoil, the leaders of the alien coalition faced the stark reality of their diminishing power. Inside the council chambers, a tense atmosphere prevailed as Mivora, the president of the council, addressed the assembly. "The situation is dire," she began, her voice echoing solemnly through the hall. "Humanity's victory at Zethus Prime marks a critical shift in the balance of power. We must address this with a unified front, or risk further losses." General Ethan Drake, watching the live feed from Earth, turned to his advisors, a grim satisfaction on his face. "They're scrambling. It's time we pressed our advantage and proposed our terms." Back at the council, Zorak, the Zaltraxian commander-turned-diplomat, rose to speak, his tone defiant yet edged with concern. "We must not falter in our resolve. I propose a final, concentrated strike on their key installations. We cannot allow them to consolidate their gains." However, his call for further conflict was met with resistance. A Cilium delegate known for their contemplative wisdom interjected, "We have already seen the fruits of this path, Zorak. Further aggression might only lead to our ultimate undoing. Perhaps it is time to consider diplomacy." The debate raged on, with factions within the council pushing for peace, while others urged continued resistance. Amidst the discord, Ambassador Aaron Voss took the floor, his presence commanding attention. "Esteemed members, might I propose an alternative? Let us extend an offer for ceasefire and negotiations to Earth. It is clear that the continuation of hostilities benefits no one." His suggestion sparked a new round of discussions, with many seeing it as a viable way out of an unwinnable war. After hours of intense debate, the Council agreed to send a formal proposal to Earth, a ceasefire and the start of peace negotiations. Upon receiving the proposal, General Drake convened his top military and diplomatic advisors, including Captain Leon Mercer and Ambassador Voss. "They're offering a ceasefire," Drake announced, laying out the document on the table. "It's an opportunity to regroup and reinforce our positions, but it's also a chance to dictate the terms of a new galactic order." Leon, ever the voice of caution, added, "We should consider this carefully, General. A ceasefire could stabilize the regions we've already secured and give us time to plan our next moves without further bloodshed." Aaron nodded in agreement. "It also puts us in a favorable position to negotiate from a point of strength. We can shape the peace to our advantage and ensure the security of human space for generations to come." After a lengthy discussion, Drake made his decision. "We will accept the ceasefire, but on our terms. We continue to prepare for any eventualities, but for now, we will show the galaxy that humanity is not only a military force, but also a leader in peace." The response was drafted and sent back to the Council, agreeing to the ceasefire but making it clear that humanity was far from done. Earth's message was firm yet open to dialogue, setting the stage for a new chapter in galactic relations. As the news of the ceasefire spread, celebrations erupted across human colonies, tempered with the knowledge that the road ahead would be fraught with diplomatic challenges and the need for strategic foresight. The ceasefire brought a tense peace to the galaxy. As hostilities halted, the Galactic Council and Earth began the intricate dance of diplomacy. The negotiation table was a battlefield of its own, where words and wits clashed with the subtlety of interstellar politics. In these negotiations, humanity's delegation, led by Ambassador Aaron Voss, operated with a blend of assertiveness and cunning. On Earth, in the halls of the United Nations' newly established Interstellar Assembly, Aaron Voss prepared for another session of talks. The Assembly Hall, a grand structure symbolizing Earth's rise to power, was abuzz with activity. Representatives from various human colonies and allied alien races gathered, each with their own agendas and expectations. Aaron met with General Ethan Drake and Captain Leon Mercer before the session. "Today we set the cornerstone of our future in the galaxy," Aaron stated, reviewing his notes. "Our goal is not just peace, but a structured peace that favors our strategic interests." Drake, his demeanor as stern as ever, nodded. "Keep them on their heels, Aaron. We've shown we can fight. Now let's show them we can lead." Leon added, "And let's not forget we need to build trust as well. Our strength brought them to the table, but our integrity will keep them there." As negotiations commenced, Aaron put forth humanity's terms. These included formal recognition of human sovereignty over key territories won in the war, a permanent human-led security task force in volatile sectors, and the establishment of a new trade and defense alliance. The proposals were bold, aiming to reshape the galactic order to ensure the prominence of humanity. Across the table, alien delegates, wary but weary of conflict, debated and discussed each point. Mavora, representing the Galactic Council, finally spoke. "Ambassador Voss, your terms are comprehensive, but you ask much. What assurances do we have that humanity will uphold this new order and not abuse its power?" Aaron's response was measured. "Mavora, we seek a stable galaxy where all can prosper. Each point of our proposal is designed not only to benefit humanity, but to ensure mutual growth and safety. We are proposing not just a ceasefire, but a lasting peace." Weeks of negotiations followed. Each session was arduous, testing the patience and resolve of all parties involved. But slowly, a consensus began to emerge. The treaty crafted was detailed and robust, covering military disarmament zones, mutual defense pacts, and economic partnerships. Finally, the Treaty of Galactic Unity was signed. It was a landmark achievement heralding a new era. Humanity had not only secured its position, but had also laid the foundation for a galactic federation led by Earth. The signing ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy, watched by billions, marking the moment when humanity truly stepped onto the galactic stage as a superpower. In the following months, the impact of the treaty became evident. Trade flourished under new regulations, and former battlefields were transformed into zones of joint development. Humanity's fleets, once instruments of war, now patrolled the space lanes as peacekeepers. As peace and prosperity began to take root, Aaron, Drake, and Leon watched from Earth, reflecting on their journey. They had navigated the perils of war and the complexities of peace to guide humanity to a position of unprecedented influence. "The galaxy respects strength," Drake remarked one evening as they looked out over the skyline of Earth's capital. "Yes, but it thrives on cooperation," Leon added, smiling. Aaron nodded, his gaze fixed on the stars. Today we lead, but we also serve. Let's ensure we remember that. Humanity had risen, not just through the might of its arms, but through the vision of its leaders. Now, as a pivotal member of the galactic community, it faced the future not just with ambition, but with a profound responsibility to maintain the order it had fought so hard to establish.